Hey Facebook, how are you? Happy Saturday night. I hope you guys had a great day. It was beautiful here today. Such gorgeous weather. My favorite kind of weather. Not too hot, not too cold, perfect to be outside. This morning I actually needed a jacket, but by this afternoon I for sure didn't. It was wonderful outside. But I wanted to come to you guys tonight, first of all, to say hello. I hope you had a great day. But I wanted to talk to you about creating your dreams, creating your dream life. What does that even mean, right? I talk to people a lot about this, dreaming big, thinking what they want in the future. But a lot of us, we really struggle. And I know a few years ago, I really struggled with that, not even being able to picture how different my life could look. But over the last 3.5 years, I've really learned to dream and to dream big and then to not only just dream about it, but to set goals and to go for it. Actually in the process of creating a dream board. I created one a few years ago when I really first started this process, and it's changed so much because the truth is, a lot of those things that were on that dream board, I've actually been able to achieve in the last 3.5 years, which is crazy, or it seems crazy. It's really not that crazy because when we put things onto a dream board like that, when we put things into something concrete that we can see, that we can look at, that we can really envision, we then have a goal to go for, right? To create the life that we want. So, I would love to hear it. If you have a dream board, let me know. Comment in the comments and tell me that you've got a dream board, whether it's a physical, board of cutout pictures or drawn pictures, or whether it is just a list of things that you're dreaming for, what it is. And I would love to hear about some of the things that maybe are on your dream board. Where do you see your life going? What is it that you want? Because it's so important. Hey, Gail. Thank you for giving me a live. Anybody who's on here live, if you can give me a hashtag live, that would be great so we can know you're here, so I can give you a shout out. And if you pick this up in the recording, do a hashtag replay. But talking about dreams, it's such a big thing, right? So 3.5 years ago, a big dream for me was to be able to take my family to Disney without worrying about it, without worrying about the finances behind it. And if you've been following me for a little while, you know that that has come true, right? When I first started this journey 3.5 years ago, March of 2016, we're exactly right at 3.5 years ago. March of 2016, we were getting ready to take our family to Disney. We had promised the kids a year prior. We were going for Passover and down to Orlando with my husband's family. We were all going down there, and we had promised my kids that we would go to Disney while we were down there. And the thing was, it was March of 2016, and my husband and I looked at each other and we're like, we don't know how we're going to be able to pay for this. We don't know how we're going to be able to do this, right? And so we hesitated and we hesitated and we hesitated on planning that trip, because Disney is not inexpensive, and I'm pretty good at doing it on a budget. But even on a budget, Disney, you have to work for it. You have to save for it. You have to be able to do it. And it was really, really depressing. Like the pictures that I have from that trip, right? We were not able to afford it. My in-laws actually had to help us pay for that trip. They had to help us pay for our tickets to get into the park. And fortunately, it was Passover, so we didn't, food was not even an option to buy there. We took all our own food in. And souvenirs, right? It was really non-existent. And my kids didn't know the difference. They had a great time, but we knew. And the pictures that we have from there, right? I had a smile plastered on my face, but I wasn't really happy there, in the happiest place in the world. And right. And one of my favorite places, one of the places that I've had amazing memories growing up. And obviously, as you guys can see, as many times as I've been there in the last 6 months now, right? I love it there. And it is a happy place for me. But at the time, it really wasn't, because I was there with this pressure on my shoulders of, oh my God, how are we paying for this? Oh my God, how can I do this? Right? It was a terrible, terrible, terrible feeling. And that was one of the things that was on my dream board, was to be able to take my kids back and to do it right? And hey, Shira, and really to be able to do it right, and really to be able to stay on property. My kids, we had been several times since with my kids, but we never stayed on property. We always we always sort of did it by the skin of our teeth. And it wasn't what I wanted. That wasn't the dream for me. The dream was to really be able to go and to do it all out, and to just really be able to enjoy it and not have to worry, right? And so last February, it was my birthday last February. My husband and I were out. We were out for my birthday. And I looked at him and I said, I want to take the kids away for spring break. And he looked at me and he said, well, I can't go because he and I were going to have been away the week before on a cruise that I had earned from, through my company. And he's like, I can't take off 2 weeks. And so I said, okay, well, would you be okay with it if I take him away? And, so he's like, oh, okay, well, where are you going to go? And I said, I'm going to take him to Disney. And he's like, what? Right? But it was something that I had been dreaming of and thinking of. And here it was that I could actually afford it. I could actually do it. We could actually afford it. It wasn't just me. We could actually afford it. We had changed our lives so much in the previous 3 years, right? That we could actually afford it. And I said to him, we can afford this, right? We can do this. And he said, okay. He said, if we can do this and it's not going to hurt our other things, right? Go for it. So the next day, that was Saturday night, I spent Sunday on the phone with our travel agent, booking tickets and booking Disney and booking all this stuff, right? And I was able to pay it off in cash. And I'm not saying this to be braggy. I'm not saying this to be, right, to make anybody feel bad. But what I'm saying is, it was something that I had dreamed of. It was something that I really desperately wanted to be able to do. And I worked really, really hard to be able to do it. Right? And this was a great lesson for me. It really taught me the power and the lesson of making a dream concrete, of putting it down into paper, of envisioning what it is that you really want and putting it out there and saying what it is that you want so that you can then go for it, right? We were able to go back again this summer, and that was sort of twisted, convoluted way, right? My kids were supposed to go away to sleepaway camp, and that got canceled. And so that money came back to us that we had invested, that we had paid towards camp, when that was refunded to us. And so when I said to my kids, where do you want to go now? And they said, we want to go back to Disney. So I said, okay, let's go back to Disney. And we could do it once again. We could do it. And we're going back in December, right? My kids and I have annual passes now. We upgraded our passes to annual passes, right? So that we can go back again again in December. So again, my husband's not coming with us because he's going to Israel for our nephew's wedding. But he's going to Israel, and we're going to Israel. We're going back to Disney for another 11 days, right? Over the craziest time of year. And I never, ever, ever, if you had told me 3.5 years ago that I would be taking my kids to Disney 3 times in less than a year, right? I would have said you were crazy, because this was something that we never could have afforded. We never could have done. But it was something that went on our dream board. And actually, I sat down, I posted a travel dream board the other day on my timeline. And that didn't just come from me, right? I asked my kids, I said, where would you want to go? Right? And the first thing they said was Disney, because that's just where we go now. And I love it. But I said, okay, Pat, so that went onto the dream board. That was the first square. And I said, but where else would you want to go? Let's dream big. What do you want to do? Right? Where do you want to go? And so they said, we want to go to Hawaii. Great. So we had a beach picture on there. And one of my kids had heard about the Galapagos Islands, I don't know, at school, and that's always actually been one of the places on my dream board forever and ever and ever, to go to the Galapagos Islands and to see the turtles. I would love to do that. And my kids had heard about that, and they didn't know what it was called. They're like, where's the place with the really big turtles? I was like, Galapagos? And they said, yeah. They said, we want that. So I was like, great, let's put that on the dream board, right? All these places. So all the places that were on our dream board, right? And they really want to go on a Disney cruise. That's a big one for them. We went on a cruise last December. They really want to do that again, but they want to go on a Disney cruise. So I was like, okay, let's put that on the dream board. And you know why we did that as a family? We did that as a family because it's not just about my dreams. It's about what do they want too, right? I work really hard. My husband works really hard to build the life that our whole family wants, right? Because that's what this is all about. It's not just about me, right? But I challenge you to envision yourself, put together your dream board. And my main dream board is not just about trips. That was where we were talking about with my kids, because that is some of the best memories that we've been making, are the places that we can travel to and some of the things that we can do. Yellowstone was also on that dream board. They really want to see the geysers, and they heard about when I went there with my family as a kid, all the stories that we had from this crazy trip we did when I was little. And they really want to do something similar to that, right? So those are such cool, amazing memories. But there are so many other things that are on our dream boards that we can dream about. And one of the things that I work with my clients on and teach my clients, and I really work really hard with, try to teach my kids this, is to envision what you want in the future, right? Envision the future, but then act in the now as if you're going for that, right? So you have to do the things today that are going to create that future for you. So what I want you to do is close your eyes for a minute and picture, where do you want to be a year from now, right? Where do you want to be? What do you want that life to look like? Maybe you want to lose some weight, right? Maybe you want to be out of debt or on your way out of debt. Maybe you want to go on some amazing trip, right? I don't know what it is. Close your eyes and picture where that is, right? Envision it. Really, really, really solidly envision it. And then start to rewind the tape backwards. What are the things that have to happen, right? Look at September 7th of 2020, right? I think we're at September 7th now. September 7th of 2020, right? And rewind the tape backwards. What has to happen over this year, as you rewind backwards, what has to happen to get you to that place? Envision that really, really clearly, right? And the more clearly you can envision those steps, the more likely you are to actually be there on September 7th, 2020, right? Or to be set up to, maybe if your vision is to be on a specific trip, maybe you're not going to be on that trip on September 7th, but maybe you'll have everything together that trip is booked, right? Where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing 1 year from today? Because I can tell you, it's possible. It's really, really, really possible. If 3.5 years ago, I was sitting there 75 pounds overweight, probably more than that, right? But when I started program, I was 75 pounds overweight. Total, I lost over 100 pounds. But from 3.5 years ago, 75 pounds overweight, in massive debt, right? Depressed, miserable, feeling like a complete failure. But that's not what I wanted, right? And at the time, I didn't know how to dream. I didn't know how to dream big, right? But I learned. And it started with what now seems like a smaller dream, right? And now my dreams for the future are even bigger, right? Where I want to go, what I want to do, the things that I want to be able to do for my kids, right? I pulled off this amazing bat mitzvah last weekend for my daughter, right? You guys saw the pictures, and the pictures didn't even do it justice. And the truth of the matter is, when I envisioned that weekend 2 years ago, I came up with the Harry Potter Shabbat idea, okay? 2 years ago. We were not in a financial place to be able to pull this off. I was not emotionally or mentally in a place two years ago when I dreamed this up to pull it off. But it was such a strong dream, so clearly envisioned in my life, clearly envisioned in my head, that there was no stopping me from doing it, right? I was going to do everything in my power to get myself there because it was what I wanted to do for my daughter. It was what she wanted, right? We had this whole vision together. And so I wasn't going to stop. And my husband and I joke about this, right? So when I came up with that idea for the Harry Potter Shabbat to bring in Rabbi Rosenberg 2 years ago, right? And my husband was like, he just sort of smiled and he was like, yeah, okay, whatever you say, right? Like, okay, because financially we weren't in a place to pull something like that off, right? Financially, we were still, and just everything about it. We were not in a place to pull that off. I was not in a place to pull that off, right? But I said, it's going to happen, right? And we went along over the course of 2 years, and this conversation kept going and going and going, and he kept smiling and nodding, thinking, yeah, it's not going to happen, right? And finally he said to me about 8 months ago, 10 months ago, he said, fine. He said, if you can figure out how we can afford to do it, then do it, right? Then do it. And I think he thought I was really not going to pull it off, especially once my daughter said she wanted to make Chai Lifeline part of her bat mitzvah, and she wanted part of her bat mitzvah to revolve around Chai Lifeline. And instead of me giving up on that other idea and pushing it aside and making it about the Chai Lifeline, we did both, right? 3.5 years ago, I never could have done both. I don't think I could have pulled off one, right? Much less could I have pulled off the crazy weekend that we did. But it was amazing. And it was something that I set my sights on and set my goals to and was able to do because it became a priority, right? When we create a dream board, we figure out what are our priorities, right? To me, I was looking at that and I said, how can I not do this for my daughter? How can I not give her this amazing weekend that would mean so much to her, right? It was about figuring out how to make it work, how to do it, right? And that's what's so important. If you have a goal, if you have a dream, I'm here to tell you, as someone who has done it, as someone who has gone through hell and back, right? In my own personal life, in my own personal emotions, in all of those things, right? I'm here to tell you that it's possible, that it is possible to create whatever dream life you want. But the first step in doing that is knowing what that dream life is. And there are certain things that as you start to achieve those dreams, as you start to achieve those goals, it's going to change. My dream board from 3.5 years ago looks very different than the dream board that I'm creating now, right? And that's okay, because that's how we continue to grow. That's how we continue to become the best people that we can be. And as you do it, don't just make it about you. Bring in your family, like I did with our travel dream board, right? Have them be part of it, because that's so amazing. Even if there are dreams on there, there should be dreams on there that should just be just your dreams, just things that you're creating for yourself. But when you share that with others, when you share that with the people around you who care about you, they're going to do everything in their power to help you create those dreams as well, right? When I set out to lose 75 plus pounds, right, I shared that dream with the people closest around me so that they could support me, right? When I decided that I was going to live this out loud about 6 weeks into my journey, terrified to live it out loud, to put it out there, because what are people going to think? Oh, she's on another diet. Oh, she's doing this again, right? But when I was against all the fear that I had, put it out there, the outpouring of support was tremendous. And the truth is, that's what helped me hit my goal. And that's what's helped me maintain my goal, right? I don't sit at my healthy weight because something magical happened. I don't sit at my healthy weight because my metabolism all of a sudden changed because I became a coach, right? People think that all the time. Oh, it's so easy for coaches to keep their weight off. No, I have to work really, really, really hard to do it. I still battle the things that took me back in past when I've lost the weight and put it back on. And actually, that's going to be a topic of my live this next week. The curse of yo-yo dieting, right? It's really a curse. And how do you beat through it? But part of how you beat through it, that I'll talk about more later this week, is creating those dreams, creating those goals, right? Really, truly changing your life. And it's really important to do that. So I would love it if you create a dream board and you want to share it with me. I'm going to be posting mine within the next day or so. I'm still finishing it up and putting it together, right? And I'll be posting mine to share with you guys. And I would love it if when I post mine, you create one and post it in the comments and share your dreams, right? So we can go for it together, so we can support one another, right? So we can say a year from now, this is where I want to be, right? Where do you want to be 1 year from now, right? Throw it out there. Where do you want to be? Do you want to go on some amazing trip? Do you want to lose some weight? Do you want to be debt-free? Or do you want to be on your way to debt-free, right? Sometimes being totally debt-free in a year is not possible, but well on your way is possible, right? Maybe you have a dream job that you want, right? Maybe you want to join me in helping other people change their lives, but you just don't know how. You just don't know how to reach out and do what I do, right? All these things. Dream big. Dream really, really big, right? I always tell people, if you shoot for the moon, you're going to land in the stars. If you shoot for the stars, you're going to hit an eagle. If you shoot for an eagle, you're going to hit a rock. So shoot for that moon, right? Because even if you don't hit the moon, you're going to land in the stars and you're going to be in an amazing place. Go for it. Go for big, right? Really think, where do you want to be? And on that note, I'm going to say have a wonderful, fantastic night. I'm going to go wrap up some stuff and get to sleep, even though I took a nice long nap today. But I want to get to sleep and finish recuperating from my crazy weekend last weekend so I can be refreshed for this week. But I hope you guys have a great week. And we'll all talk soon. I can't wait to see your dream boards. Good night.